Do you guys want to learn how to build a junk removal business that doesn't fail within the first 3 years? Keep watching. What's up, guys? My name is Andrew. I'm a serial entrepreneur, a software engineer, and an ex-junk removal business owner. I started a junk removal business as a stepping stone to return to my passion of technology and apps. I invite you guys to stick around, hang out, follow me on my journey from recently selling my junk removal business to building a billion-dollar home services app called Autopilot. And that is true. Before I dive into the video, I have to make some announcements. If you want, you can always skip to the meat and potatoes right here. If you guys sign up for Autopilot, I am running an insane deal. Let's just say there's only 100 spots. Monthly coaching, which includes 2 classes a month and a QA, so 3 classes a month. My $1,000 course for free. 7 different website templates for you guys to choose from. Some of them have 10 pages, some of them have 50, but you can always duplicate the pages and add as many as you want. So that's like a $3,000 value, all SEO optimized, all of my resources, call recordings of my agents, taking sales calls, phone calls of my junk removal business, contracts, employee handbook, check-in, check-out sheets, it's all kinds of crazy stuff, guys. This offer is going on for anybody who signs up for Autopilot and uses Autopilot. If you guys are new to this business and you want to learn how to start a junk removal business for only $50 a month, now's the time. Check out the video description down below for all the links, all the information. Check out the comments, whatever. Let's talk about the Junk Expo. October 24th to the 25th, I'm one of the speakers. This is going to be a crazy event. It sold out last year, and I think tickets are only like $200, $250 for 2 days, 12 speakers, 20 vendors, drinks, food, amazing time, networking. I'm gonna be there, and I'm gonna be talking about some cool stuff. I'm gonna obviously be talking about my software, but I have some huge announcements I'm gonna be making at the event. I'm also giving away a $10,000 dump trailer at the event, no strings attached. I hope to see you guys there. If you want to buy a ticket, go right here, junkexpo.com with a hyphen in the middle of Junk Expo. And let's just get into the video now, guys. All right, guys, welcome to the How to Start a Junk Removal Business. I wanted to do a video a little different than my last video here, where that was a 10.5-hour video that I put together on how to start a junk removal business, covering everything A to Z. So if you want to check that video out, that goes over all the technicalities, the technical details, from setting up Facebook ads to setting up Google ads to building a website. It's all the technical stuff. But today, we're going to go deeper in a different direction. Instead of talking about the technicals, I want to talk more about the business itself. We're going to go over 5 topics today, and we're going to dive deep, guys. This might be an hour-long video, a 2-hour-long video, a 3-hour-long video. I don't know. I'm gonna put timestamps so you guys can skip to whatever you want to skip to down in the video description below. Branding, leads, the work, employees, operations, and data. Those are the 6 major topics that we're gonna cover of how to build a business that is not only sustainable, but can thrive and grow and is scalable. Because if you don't have operations and SOPs, standard operating procedures in place, you can't expect to grow a junk removal business. Without branding, you're not gonna be recognized or remembered. Without good employees, you're not gonna survive at all. Without generating leads, you have no business at all. You need leads. And of course, data. Data is a funny one because most people don't track their data. Data is very important, and we're gonna dive deep into all of these topics. So without further ado, let's jump in to the video and start on the first topic, branding. All of these are very important. Everything's important, but it goes without saying, if you aren't branding, you will not be remembered. Branding is what people remember you by. Branding is who you associate with. Branding is the cool little logo you have. Branding is the customer service. There's a very amazing person who talks about branding in depth, and I really suggest you go watch the video here by Caleb Ralston. He defines good branding as the pairing of things intentionally done consistently over time. If Nike paired themselves with Michael Jordan one time, and Nike never did it again, if they just paired themselves one time with one athlete and he wore the shoes one time on the courts, one time in one basketball game, would Nike be recognized as pairing with the greatest athletes in the world? No. Nike consistently paired themselves with the greatest athletes of all time every single game, every single time. They consistently paired themselves with the greatest athletes in the world, and that's how Nike grew their brand. They intentionally paired themselves with what they wanted to be recognized as is the greatest shoe brand in the world because they paired themselves with greatness. That is one of the most classic examples that anybody and everybody uses. Caleb Ralston also uses that example. Let's go a little bit deeper of personal brand. We're going to talk about personal brand, big brand examples, which I just covered. Nike's a big brand example, a local brand example. A personal brand is me, for example. Take me. When you build a personal brand, like I'm trying to build a personal brand, is I'm trying to put out content consistently of what I want you guys to judge me based on. So I put out educational junk removal content because you guys look up to me, I hope, I think, because I made $1 million my first year in junk removal. If I were to start going on podcasts and I started pairing myself with other podcast interview people that sold scammy courses and I associated myself, paired myself consistently with sleazy scammers like Grant Cardone, for example, or people that I should not be associated, you would automatically, by association, assume I'm a sleazeball. You want to avoid the pairing of certain things. That is a personal brand example. The big brand example was Nike and Michael Jordan. Let's talk about a local brand. How does this impact us branding as a local service business? We can't afford Michael Jordan. We're not going on podcasts. Now, there are local city podcasts that you could get on and pair yourselves. But for example, here's a great way for local businesses, whether you're an auto detailing company, whether you're a junk removal company, a moving company. One of my investors helps women who just went through DV, and he helps relocate them for free. He is known in his local community for helping DV victims. What better way to get recognized by working hand in hand with DV victims or DV shelters and helping relocate them? Another example is sponsoring school youth programs. You see this all the time. You sponsor local youth sports groups all over your city. Another one that you can do is you can organize neighborhood cleanups. There's lots of places that need cleanups, and you can be that pillar of the community and be recognized for doing local community, and you start building the brand of like, hey, I'm the junk removal company that does good things. Why wouldn't you do that? Branding is pairing of things, what people associate you with, consistently over time. If you help one DV victim, you're helping one person. That's a good thing. But what I'm saying is you won't be remembered. So it's doing it consistently. That is branding at its core, at its essence. So really take what I said, find the most popular hero in your town, whether it's a local school coach that's really big in one of the colleges or whatever, and have him be one of your sponsors. And you do cleanups for him, and you organize cleanups for families that might need junk removal, and that guy is the local hero. And I'm just riffing, I'm just making shit up. It might work, it might not work. But you can apply the Michael Jordan thing with Nike by finding local heroes in your area. For the personal brand example, there are local podcasts that do small business networking events, and there's small business awards and small networkings. There's so much stuff that you can do to brand yourself locally. You know, another local brand example is Matt and JoJo took pride in their county, Sonoma Strong Hauling. So you can take pride in your city. There's another person who does this, Temecula Junk Hauling down in Temecula, California. He took pride in his name. So he's kind of known as the local junk removal company. So you can also go that direction as well. There's so many ways you can spin this guy's brand. So think how you can apply this to your junk removal business, your home service business, your auto detailing business. Let's talk about my brand. What did I do? Now, I was not some hero. I wasn't recognized in my local community. I didn't do any branding that way. But what I did do was Star Wars. So if you guys remember, I was Jedi Junk Removal. I took my brand of Jedi to the extreme. To give you guys some examples of what I did, if you didn't know, when you called my company, the hold music was the Cantina song. You guys can go to YouTube and play the track. It's the classic Star Wars song. My voicemail, if we missed your call, was Yoda. I did a Yoda voice, and I was like, we have missed your call, something. I don't know what it was, but it was, you could call the Jedi Junk Removal number today and hear the Yoda voice. I had me in a Star Wars caricature on the side of the truck. I looked like I was Jedi himself. I made my employees, my phone operators, and paid them to watch all of the Star Wars movies. All the original Star Wars, including the Disney franchise versions. All of the Star Wars, I had them watch them all because customers always asked on the phone, what's your favorite Star Wars? And I can't have my phone operators not knowing Star Wars. So that brand, I became known as a Star Wars brand, and I kid you not, so many people were like, oh my God, I loved your voicemail greeting.
Jedi Junk Removal, this is Edward. How can I help you?
Hi, that was the most fun I've ever had, making a phone call to a company.
Thanks.
Your introduction?
Yeah.
Okay, did you say your name?
Yep, my name is Edward. Yeah, I've heard a lot of
And
that
you've heard
from
a lot.
other customers as well.
Well, it's definitely fantastic. So,
Quick intermission. Are you still watching? Please, it really helps me out if you just hit the like button, subscribe, comment, ask a question, something. Anyways, back to the video. So many people loved what I did with my brand. And that's just one example, okay? There's so many ways to building a brand. And I did that intentionally and consistently over time. Let's talk about the other obvious part of branding. If you want to be a brandable company, you need to have an awesome website. You need to be discoverable across all social media platforms. You need to be on Google Maps. You have to have branded uniforms, a branded hat. You have to have steel-toe boots. You have to have a clipboard with a pricing sheet that looks legit, the credit card machine, and of course your equipment needs to be decaled. You need to have decals as soon as you can afford them. Whether if you can afford a vehicle wrap, eventually get a wrap. It changes the game. You get so many phone calls. If you can't afford a wrap, big lettering decals. I got giant decals all across my truck. It's like $1,000. A wrap is like $5 grand. But if you can get a badass wrap eventually, changes the game. Every detail you do to look more professional reinforces your brand. And that goes without saying. Brand is also the customer service you deliver. Don't sound monotone and boring on the phone. Be a little chipper. Be legit. When you show up at the person's house, be nice, be friendly. It should go without saying. I don't think I need to talk about customer service in this video, but that is part of your brand. That goes with also your employees. We're gonna talk about employees in that section later. And if you're a monotone, relaxed dude with like, you're just really calm and you're like this, you're like that, if that's just who you are as a person, that's fine. But I'm sorry, you're gonna have to act a little, okay? You can be who you wanna be when you're not talking to the customers, but when you're talking to the customers, put on a show if that's not who you are naturally. Luckily, God blessed me with this beautiful DNA of just being a charismatic, beautiful, charming man. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, guys, I'm kidding. And anyways, that is branding. At least that's my take on it. All right, topic 2, leads. Half of my YouTube channel is talking about leads. I talk about how to get leads for free here. I talk about how to get leads here. I talk about how to get leads here and leads here. I have countless videos on leads, but getting leads is probably the hardest part in this business. Not to like discredit the work that we do or be too offensive. We could train a monkey to take trash out of a house. Yes, you gotta be careful of scratching people's walls. Yes, we have to like lift up heavy items properly so we don't hurt our back. But let's be honest with ourselves, guys. There's a low barrier of entry into this business. There's no skills required. What makes this business difficult, or any business difficult, is growing it. That is the hardest part. 99% of the people who hit me up, Andrew, I need more leads. It is a lead issue. Doing the work is the easy part. For me, it's different though. I've told you multiple times. Doing the work was the hard part because I've never done labor in my entire life. So I'm a different type of person. The easy part for me was the hard part for you. Sitting in front of a computer for hours, running ads and creating a website and running Google ads and running Facebook ads and ranking myself and making social media content. That was like easy for me. That's the hard stuff for you guys. The problem in this community is you guys aren't willing to do skill acquisition. The biggest problem in this industry that I'm noticing in the Facebook groups and in the YouTube community is everybody's trying to hire somebody to build their website, hire somebody to run your SEO, and hire somebody to run your Google ads. You know what I'm seeing people pay for websites? $5,000. Do you want to know what people are paying for running SEO? $500 to $2,000 a month. You know how much I'm hearing about people running Google ads? $500 to $1,500 a month. You add all that up, you guys are broke before you even started. And I don't care if you got money in savings to start this business, and I don't care if you've got good credit. You're blowing money for no freaking reason. Is there an argument of like, okay, you picked the right SEO agency, you picked the right website built? Sure, fine. 1% of people get lucky. When you're an entrepreneur and you're starting a new business, I am in the firm belief that you need to do skill acquisition and learn these skills yourself before you outsource them. If some of you guys are watching my videos and I'm friends with you, I'm friends with a lot of the SEO guys, you might see this video. A lot of you website builders, you guys might watch this video. I love you guys, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to disagree when you say a junk removal guy shouldn't build their own website. A junk removal guy shouldn't do SEO. A junk removal guy shouldn't do ads. Yes, they should. The entrepreneur's biggest skill is in skill acquisition. It's learning new things and wearing multiple hats until you can afford to take one of those hats and give it to somebody else. Learn the basics of SEO. Learn WordPress or do that. You can do it in a day. And okay, fine. I know there's a lot of people out there who hate technology and you're like, Andrew, I can't touch a fucking computer. I get your phone calls all the time. You call me all the time. You're like, Andrew, I can't stand to be in front of a computer. Guess what? I couldn't stand to pick up shit, but I did. You think the last thing I wanted to do was take my wife into a field of human feces and pick up shit? But I did it. I learned the skill of picking up poo. No, jokes aside, guys, but the point is, I had to learn new skills. I didn't know how to use a Sawzall. I'm not even kidding. I didn't even know what a Sawzall was. I didn't know how to use power tools. I didn't know how to rip up a hot tub. I didn't know how to lift things up properly without hurting myself. I didn't even know steel toe boots existed. There was so many things that I didn't know. If you guys want to be true business owners and you guys are true entrepreneurs, you are going to learn how to generate leads yourself in the beginning. Here's what I want you guys to do. Lean into what you're good at. There's a lot of different ways of generating leads. There's all the pounding the pavement, boots on the ground stuff, which is putting out yard signs, which is putting out door hangers, which is door knocking, which is networking. Some people are amazing with people. B&I, Chamber of Commerce, real estate association groups, walk-ins to business and talking to realtors. Some people are good with people, and that is their strong suit. I was horrible with people. I hated networking and going into large crowds and going into business networking events. That was not my thing. There are some people who are born with the gift of gab. If you're born with the gift of gab, lean on that. Go do that. If you have the strength of understanding social media, lean into social media. Go make social media content and start exploring that world. If you think you're good with like technical stuff on the computer, try running Facebook ads. Build your own well, you should build your own website anyways. In the meantime, do not hire agencies to run your stuff. Learn them yourself so that when you hire, you know if you're being bullshitted or not. When you build your first website and you eventually want to upgrade your website, you'll have a gist of like, okay, I know what's going on here. This guy is definitely ripping me off. When you run Google ads, you'll know this is not somebody who knows how to run junk removal ads. He doesn't even know the proper negative keywords like city, bulky item pickup, trash, garbage, disposal. There's so many negative keywords that pop up in junk removal on Google ads that most people don't understand. And then you burn all your money on Google ads. Learn how to run Facebook ads. Facebook ads are the easiest. The biggest bang for buck is Facebook ads. You can spend $5 a day, $10 a day, and crush it on Facebook. You can get leads like that. Now, what I want to show here real quick is a chart that I made. I call it the marketing quadrant. I got the idea from somebody else in a different business model, the SaaS business model. And if you look at the top left, we have cheap and fast. If you look at the top right, we have cheap and slow. If you look at the bottom left, we have fast and expensive. If you look at the bottom right, we have slow and expensive. The top left quadrant is where I think you guys should focus when you're doing less than $5,000 a month in revenue. The techniques in here is mostly gonna be boots on the ground technique and a lot of Facebook outreach stuff. Door knocking, business walk-ins, door hangers, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, outreach and posting, Facebook group posting, and just general Facebook outreach. Facebook ads are a good one to start in here, and lead generators such as Go Load Up and Get Dimension, okay? And I talk about all of this stuff in different YouTube videos on my channel. But this is where you focus when you're doing under $5,000 a month in revenue. Now, if you're doing less than $5,000 a month in revenue, but you see something in the other quadrant that you can do, I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just saying focus in this top left quadrant first. The next quadrant, the top right, cheap and slow. When you're in between $5,000 to $10,000, this is the quadrant you want to start focusing on. Taking in goodie bags into realtors places, truck parking and getting truck decals and running ghost routes, getting referrals, networking events, community involvement, social media, really starting to crank on social media. You can get a VA, a virtual assistant, to help you post content on social media every day. You film, you send it to them, They edit and upload it. Cold email is a really good one. Facebook retargeting ads, that's a big one as well. This quadrant, the third quadrant, fast and expensive, is gonna be from $10,000 to $20,000. This is where you start getting into ads. And why I suggest you wait till you're doing $15,000, $20,000-ish a month before touching ads is because ads are expensive and they're competitive. If you want to scale your business, you want to get to this area. This is where you want to get. You want to run ads, but I don't want you to break the bank and be scared every single month that you're like blowing too much money on ads, because Google Ads is where the big boys play. And you want to wait till you're doing $15,000, $20,000 a month. We got Nextdoor ads, Thumbtack ads, Yelp ads, Google ads, Hulu ads, Bing ads, Google local service ads, and Angie. I have Angie in here, but I know we don't like Angie. I just have to list it because it is one of them. Some people thrive off Angie, but I hear 90% of people hate Angie. Quadrant number 4, slow and expensive, 20,000 and up. This is because this area, things are very slow and expensive. EDDM, every door direct mail with the United States Postal Service, they'll actually put postcards in everybody's mailbox for you. You can do 5,000 houses, 10,000 houses, but it's expensive and it's a slow play. That's why you don't want to mess with that until later, unless you watch this video here, a little more on EDDM. Cold calling, you don't want to do cold calling until you can have a VA make cold calls for you. It's not an effective use of your time until you can actually deploy some money towards it and actually get people to start cold calling on your behalf. Radio, print, and SEO, search engine optimization. And of course, guys, I know AI is starting to change the game with AI SEO. Google is now changing everything. You're seeing the AI results before the listings. This is a transition that we don't know what's gonna happen. So there's not much to say here, but what we do know is that when people Google is pulling their AI results most likely from the top SEO results. So SEO is still going to be very important because AI is pulling from the websites that are in the top 10. Most likely, Google doesn't give out their algorithm. Nobody truly knows. By the way, just a note to self, if any SEO agency says they know, they don't. They're fucking liars. Nobody knows. Google just doesn't go, here's how you rank number 1. Google hides the algorithm. We can make hypotheses and predictions based on things that we've done, but unless you see somebody rank somebody number 1 and prove it to you, nobody knows shit. So keep that in mind. As far as generating leads, guys, my entire channel is about generating leads. I came up with this marketing quadrant. You can download it in the description below, and I will have resources to each quadrant so you can have a link to each video on how to do each tactic, and you can learn all about the quadrant and you can go generate leads for your business. That is leads. Topic number 3, the work itself. The work is the easy part, okay? But I am gonna just go through a couple things really quick. This section is gonna be very short, and this is gonna vary on every type of home service business. If you guys are in a skilled labor business, such as like plumbers, electricians, and painters, where there's actually like, you need a skill, it's gonna be so much different from you guys because the skill matters in your case. When people hire a junk removal person, they're not thinking, I need to get the most skilled junk removal person ever. You guys on Facebook call them crackhead people who charge $50 for a couch pickup. I'm sorry to bust your balls. They want the cheap crackhead guy. They don't care. They don't care. That is the sad reality of our business, is skills don't come into play here. 90% of the time, they're looking for the cheapest person to remove their junk. And I know a lot of you guys are like, well, that's not your customer. That's true. There are people out there who want a better brand. And of course, that's why we talked about branding. But the sad reality remains, we're not in the skilled labor business. So it does come down to price. I'll take the cheapest trash dude who takes my trash out, but I'm not gonna hire a shitty handyman. I've done that, been there. I hired a shitty electrician. That didn't go well. My lights are still flickering to this day. With that being said, how do we stand out then? We talked about branding, that's how you stand out. But when it comes to the work, here's how we stand out. Offer free in-person quotes. No pressure, no obligation quotes. Be willing to come out there for free. That is number 1. Most of us do that, but it goes without saying. Number 2, outstanding customer service. Be exceptionally nice from start to finish. Go above and beyond everybody else. Don't sound monotone, don't sound boring. Be in person, be chipper, be happy. When you get there, talk to them. Engage with them, banter if you can. Why are you getting rid of this stuff? And they'll say something, you go, it makes sense. So, I'm glad that I'm here to help you, get past this part of your life. My condolences, because as you know, death is a big part in our business. Every other day we're getting rid of stuff because somebody passed away. So get really good at just asking why, engaging, and being human. Don't just be the monotone guy. Another one is don't fuck shit up. Don't scrape their wood floors, don't scrape their walls. Just be very good at what you do. That's the only skill we can kind of really show, is that we're very careful with moving their crap out of their house. And last but not least, this one really gets people all the time. Not really gets them all the time, but this leaves a good impression. Even if there's nothing to sweep, sweep up after. We always carry a big broom with us when we remove their junk and clean out their storage unit, clean out their garage, or maybe drag stuff from their backyard, and then we get like some of the debris or the branches over their patio in their backyard. Let them see you sweeping and cleaning. It leaves a very good impression that, hey, this just isn't some trash company. These mofos cleaned up after themselves. They were very respectable. They talked to me, they bantered, they engaged with me, they came out for free to give me a quote. This is how you go above and beyond with our work when there's really no skills. Our skills are not demonstrated like everybody else. Our skills are demonstrated through customer service. Let me actually give you an example of something that blew my mind the first time I hired a cleaning company. They left behind 2 pieces of chocolate and a business card. They had like a custom stamp. They did the foldable hotel style toilet paper, like it goes into a triangle, and they stamp it with their emblem. You can buy these on Amazon. I was gonna do this with junk removal, but I thought they'd be confused if I went into their bathroom and put a junk removal stamp on their toilet paper, but I considered it. Now, that's for cleaning companies. Think about what can you do in your business if you run a car detailing company or a cleaning company or a moving company. What can you do to stand out with your work, your customer service? And that is topic number 3, the work. We are on the next topic, employees. All right, so employees is probably one of the most difficult things to do, because when you hire your first employee, you want them to be as good as you. You want them to care as much as you. But the reality is you will never find anybody to do as good as you, and you just have to accept the fact that they will never be as good as you, because it's not their company, it's your company. I always tried to find, I was like, I wish somebody could just do this and do this. It's not how it works. You want to find somebody that can be at least 80% as good as you. That's what you're shooting for. Because when you start delegating tasks and you're scaling and you hire people to take on different positions in your company, you can't expect them to all perform and care as much as you do, but that's just the nature of scaling. Yeah, they might only be 80% as effective as you were, but that also means you freed up so much of your time to where you can go be effective other places and grow the business in other ways. So just keep that in mind. You're never gonna find somebody to care as much as you, and that's just the name of the game. And if you think that's gonna happen, well, stay a one-person company for the rest of your life. That's the sad reality. And you have to make that decision. Some people don't like getting employees in their business because they want to control everything. And then they end up micromanaging all the employees, and the employees hate you for micromanaging them, and you don't give them the true potential where they can do things on their own and be free to explore with it and be creative, because you're micromanaging them. And then you end up just being that asshole boss, and you end up losing your employees. So here's my number 1 rule when it comes to hiring employees, and we hear this time and time again, and trust me, follow this to the T, because you will end up like me, where you have your employees threatening to beat you up in front of your children, and it's scary. I fired some employees and they looked like gangsters. I was actually worried they were gonna stab me, and he looked at me and said, "I'll see you soon." So be careful who you hire. The number 1 rule when hiring employees: hire slow, fire fast. Here's my process. No matter where you hire from, you need to go through a process of filtering out the weirdos and finding people who are a good culture fit. What I mean by hire slow is you need to do the video interview, you need to have them do an employee application, you need to do a background check, you need to do drug testing, and then you do an in-person interview, and then a 1-day paid trial, which I'll explain. There's a caveat there, an asterisk, if you will. And then you put them on W-2 employment after all of those steps. And when you have them do the employee application, you actually have to call their references too. What happened with me is I just willy-nilly hired people. I like you, you seem cool. And I just started rocking with them on the truck. You start with the video interview. You can filter out the weirdos. You can kind of get somebody's personality through a video interview, just asking 15 minutes of basic questions. If you want the employee application, you want my interview questions, you want my entire hiring process, I'll have it in the video description down below, along with the workbook to go along with this. After you filter them out, you then give them the employee application. And I don't care if you hire them for one day. You need to have them fill out an employee application, because what happened is I hired all these people and it didn't work out. And then I fired them. Then they got resentful, and guess what? They knew where I lived. They knew my children. They knew my wife. They knew everything about me, but guess what? I knew nothing about them. I didn't know their address. I didn't have their references. I didn't have their past work history. I didn't have a background check on them. They can just do anything they want. And that's where it got scary when I fired. They got very pissed off that I fired them for whatever reason. I couldn't call the police on him. I didn't know where he lived. I couldn't even get a restraining order if I wanted to, because I had no information on this guy. I just hired him. So, you can literally just go Google standard employee application. It asks for their birthday, emergency contact, their social security number, work history, school history, references. You have all of their information. You call the references, you check everything. And the reason why you call the references, this is important, is because then they know you're serious. Even though you know they're gonna give you bogus references, we've all been there, we've all done that, we put our best friends, we know that we're gonna get a call, but it shows that you're on top of it, and they know you don't fuck around. So it knows that you take this serious. And then after the employee application, if you like what you saw, you then move to the in-person interview. Don't ever meet them at your house. I made this mistake. Don't bring employees to your house, ever. I don't care if you like them, you trust them, you keep a boundary from where you live and where you work. If you have to meet them at a McDonald's, meet them at a McDonald's. Don't let employees know where you live. And if your trucks are parked at your house, you drive to meet them somewhere else in the morning. You never meet them on your personal property. I don't care what you've heard, what you've done, don't do it. If you like the video, they did well in the video interview, you like the references, you like their employee application, the in-person interview went great, that's when you then run the background check. Okay, you got their social security number. You run the background check through clearchecks.com. The cheapest, I think, is like $20. If you want the fully extensive one that does a nationwide search, it's like $80. Very worth it. Quick intermission. Are you still watching? Please, it really helps me out if you just hit the like button, subscribe, comment, ask a question, something. Anyways, back to the video. If you're really serious, this is gonna limit your potential candidates. You do drug testing. Now, drug testing is a tricky one. I put out drug testing, I got like 1/10 of the applications because people be smoking the marijuana. If you want the best of the best, you background check and you drug test. Just realize you're gonna get way less applicants when it comes to drug testing, obviously. After they pass all of that, a background check takes a few days to come back. This is where I used to do a one-day trial. I like doing a one-day trial, but if they get hurt on the job, you're still liable. You can't technically hire somebody as a one-day trial, 1099 contractor. They technically are supposed to be a W-2 employee. If you tell them a time to arrive and they're working on your truck with your equipment, unfortunately, it's not covered by workers' compensation. If they get hurt on day one, where they claim they got hurt, and there's people out there like this, see this video here, there are people out there who will take advantage of the system and try to bring you down and file a workers' comp claim with the state. Unfortunately, the sad reality is there's people out there like that who take advantage of the system and will try to bring your small business down. You should hire them through payroll, put them on W-2, and make sure your company carries workers' compensation insurance so that if they do get hurt, you're covered completely. And if you don't like them after day one, you can fire them. Most states, I believe, are a no-fault state where you can fire for no reason. Going through the entire process that I just laid out for you is the hire slow process to make sure you find an employee with a good personality that fits your culture, your company, somebody who passes a background check, somebody who does well in-person interview, you like their vibes, and then you kind of just put them through, and it kind of shows that you're serious. They know the expectations, and you know they're serious. They're willing to do all of that, rather than you just willy-nilly hiring somebody and putting your business at risk. I know this sucks because we're a small business, and hire workers' comp and payroll taxes is more expensive than just paying somebody cash or Zelle or Cash App. but that's illegal. If they get hurt, they could screw you over. I know this from personal experience. Don't do it. The next thing is the thing about hiring in the junk removal business, or honestly any business that requires your employees to do not only the physical labor but also talk to the customers. I need you to realize you're kind of looking for a unicorn. That is the crazy thing about this business. That's why I say you're looking for somebody who can be 80% of you. You can't expect to find somebody who can kick ass all day, hauling out trash for 8 hours, sometimes 12 hours if you're paying overtime, and be able to be good at sales and talk to customers. You're looking for a unicorn. If you find somebody that can do this, treat them well. Pay them as much as you can pay them. Make sure they make tips. Give them bonuses on like big jobs that they close. Give them commission on big jobs that they close. Give them as much hourly raise as you can, and give them raises to keep them around. If you like them, do 90 days performance reviews. Let them know that, hey, you're doing very well. Let's see if if you stick around, I'd love to give you a raise, whatever. So if you find a good person, keep them around, because good employees are like finding a needle in the haystack. It is hard to find good people. Hire slow, fire fast is my #1 rule when you're ready to start onboarding your first employees in your company. List on Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Craigslist, any platform that can bring you employees. Put your ad up. Make sure your ad is very clear with your expectations. Very clear with what they're going to get paid. Make sure it's abundantly clear so that you get the right candidates contacting you. Interview as many as you can. What's the classic saying? You got to kiss a lot of frogs until you find your prince. That's the same with employees, and treat them good. After generating leads, once you start building a customer base and leads are coming in and you're good and you're like, I'm ready to get employees, employees will be the next headache. I promise you. But it will be less of a problem if you do what I just said and you don't skip any steps. Don't just hire somebody because you like them and you had a good vibe and they have a good personality. That's a good start. Go through the entire process. That is hiring employees. What I've learned with my junk removal company, 2.5 years of hiring at least 20 employees and firing basically most of them and keeping just the good ones. And hiring slow is just taking your time and going through the steps and finding the right person, right? Firing fast is exactly that. Too many times, over and over again, I let people stay in my company when I knew I should have got rid of them. If you are asking yourself, should I get rid of them? The answer is yes. If they come in 5 minutes late every day and it's annoying as F, but they perform perfectly everywhere else, try to correct it. Try. If it's just one of those things, let it go, because you found a unicorn and he shows up 5 minutes late. Being late here and there, or they lose a shovel, or they, if they lose lots of $200 Sawzalls all the time, maybe we have an issue. We don't want to keep losing $200 Sawzalls. But those are forgivable problems. Those are mistakes. Those are not a big deal. But when you have personality traits that's a little off, you got to get rid of them. A personality trait that's not a culture fit for you. Everybody has different opinions of how people should act in your company. Personality traits are not changeable. There's one last thing I want to talk to you guys about, and that is about everybody is replaceable. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that in a people are replaceable way. For so many employees, the first 2 employees, the first one was great. He ran everything in my company. It was when I first got off the truck, me and my wife were like, we can't lose him. And I did lose him ultimately. It was kind of my fault in losing him. But me and my wife were so scared because he is such a good employee. How are we gonna find anybody as good as him? I was like, how are we ever gonna replace this guy? Replaced. Now, when you do find that golden unicorn, hold on to them as long as you can. But you can easily find people who are just as hungry, just as motivated. Don't keep someone around just because you think you won't be able to find somebody better. I promise you, you will always be able to find somebody replaceable. Everybody's replaceable. One of my other employees, he was the best at sales, but he was a dick every time I called him. He hated when I called him, which drove me bananas. He one time yelled at me and he was like, you call me 5 times a day. And I'm trying to explain to why I have to call him so much because all the next customers wanted ETAs. And I was like, oh my God, I can't lose this guy. He's so good at sales, but I'm so scared to call him because he snaps at me. And I kept him in the company way too long. And he was the one who basically threatened to beat me up in front of my kids. We almost got in a little fight right there. I should have just gotten rid of him the first time I called him. That is an example of a personality trait that is not changeable. And there's another example of another employee who did something wrong in the first 2 weeks of working with me. He did one thing. I let him go right then and there. He lost it. I knew it was gonna be a problem down the road, the way he reacted and responded to me. He started leaving bad reviews. He went to go put fake bookings on my online booking system to try to like screw up my business. So I was right. I let him go, and I proved to myself that I was actually right about this guy. He went ballistic. Long story short, if you feel something's off, fire them immediately. But like I said, if they lose a shovel here, they're late here and there, but they perform amazing, that's not worth letting go. Hire slow, fire fast, and that is my #1 rule. And if you follow that rule and you follow the hiring process, you follow the firing process, you'll be good. Virtual assistants. This is also game-changing if done correctly. There are amazing VAs out there, like my incredible editor editing this video right now. When I ran Jedi Junk Removal, I had 2 incredible phone operators. I had, how many do I have right now? Editor, graphic designer, programmer, VA. I got like 5 VAs, and they're awesome. When you're ready to take your business to the next level, you can hire what we call virtual assistants, and they're in every country. I'll put the links in the video description down below with all the places where you can go look for VAs, but you can hire VAs in Africa, South America, Philippines. I go for Philippines because my wife is Filipino, she speaks Tagalog. I hire from the Philippines. I've been using online jobs for the better part of 10, 15 years. Onlinejobs.ph is a place where you can find incredible, talented people in the Philippines at a great price. A lot of people are worried about hiring VAs because it's kind of like a black box for most people. People don't know how it works. They don't know what kind of results to expect. They don't know how to do it. I have a great video here that if you guys are interested in hiring VAs, go watch that video. But I used VAs first to get off the phones. Now, that is a very, I don't want to say taboo, but a very controversial topic because a lot of companies don't want to outsource phone calls because of the language barrier, the accent, and whatever reasons. There's nothing wrong with accents, right? Like, accents only matter if they're taking phone calls for you. Like, I don't care if my programmer, my designer, my video editor, I don't care if they have an accent when speaking English, but on the phones, you want to find the least amount of accent. And that's very possible. And I found banger phone salespeople. If you want to hear them, Brittany and Edward crushing phones here, and you can listen to my agents from the Philippines crushing the phones. When I was running Jedi Junk Removal, I had 3 VAs full time. My VAs who were on phones answered my phones, closed jobs, handled dispatch and scheduling, communicated with my employees, sent out COIs, certificates of insurance, they sent out invoices, they managed emails, they managed text messages, entered my revenue and expenses into my daily revenue tracker at the end of the day. They did all of this for me. They ran my sales, my dispatch, my everything. They ran my phones from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. I never had to touch the phones, and they crushed it for me. I had my social media VA. She posted before and after photos on my Google business profile, Google Maps listing, every single day. She responded to all of my reviews. She posted in 20 Facebook groups. She posted social media content and social media and videos across all of my platforms. She posted on Nextdoor. I even had her do some cold calling, and she also was my personal assistant for a little bit as well, and she crushed it. Don't hire VAs unless you have work for them to do. So make sure you have a game plan before you hire a VA. But here's the big problem that most people make when hiring virtual assistants. You don't qualify and do the same process of hiring slow and firing fast. You start thinking you can get this unicorn that will just do everything. You want them to do your social media, you want them to do your phones, you want them to be your personal assistant. You want to hire a VA who is good at one thing, whether it's video editing, whether it's social media, whether it's phones. So when I listed all the things that my phone VA did, phone sales, dispatch, that's kind of all in the same arena, okay? They're taking phone calls, responding to customers, and sending the customers the emails when the customer requests an email, when the customer requests an invoice. It's all related to phones. I got somebody who was good at phones. Then I got somebody who was good at social media. The only reason my social media VA, who was posting on Google My Business and Facebook, the only reason I had her do some personal stuff on the side for me was because I didn't have a full 8 hours of social media work for her to do during the day. So she did 5 hours of social media. The last couple hours of the day, she just helped me out with a couple things. Make sure when you hire a VA, you pick what you want them to be good at. And the first one that's really good, if you're too scared to get off the phones, is social media. Find somebody who can do social media content and post your social media content. You know, depending on how talented, how skilled they are in that area, of course, the more skilled they are, the more you're gonna pay, like anything, but a very good price for a fair VA starting. You know, I wouldn't go any lower than 600, and then, you know, the more you're willing to pay, 700, the more skills, a month for full time. 800 a month, 900 a month. You could pay VAs a pretty fair price and you get insane quality. And you just need to do the same process, multiple interviews, create a custom application for them to fill out. You just make sure to ask the same questions you would ask if you were hiring a video editor here. And also, the most important part is after you pick the candidate is you train them and you teach them and you work with them like you would a normal employee. The problem that I see everybody do is they hire a VA and they just send off this list of things they want them to do, and they don't teach them the standard operating procedures of your company. When I hired Brittany and Edward, I spent a month training them. I gave them 50 to 100 call recordings of me on the phone with real live phone calls, because I record my phone calls with customers. So they studied my phone calls. I made them study the geography of all of Los Angeles, and I pop quizzed them. I taught them all the lingo, San Fernando Valley. I taught them everything so that they seem like they're from California. I showed them where all the dump sites are. I did Loom video recordings, training them how to use my software. And then I did 2 weeks of mock phone calls, pretending to be a customer. And then at the very end, I made them watch all 9 Star Wars movies. I wanted them to be able to banter with customers when they got asked Star Wars questions. They need to know who Han Solo is, right? They need to know who Anakin is and what a Jedi is and Jar Jar Binks and yeah, they need to know all these Star Wars things. I trained them for a month before putting them on phones. And then, of course, when they got on phones, guess what? I monitored their calls, gave them feedback, and you know, it was a 2 to 3 month process, and they're rock stars now. When it comes to VAs, you have to treat them with the same respect and the same way you would train a normal employee. You can't expect a VA to do everything. Pick one. You know, start with one who's good at social media. They can like cut up shorts for you and, you know, do little, you know, carousels on Instagram, and who's really good at social media. And then if you want to start doing long form video content like me, find a YouTube video editor who can do long form content. If you want to get off the phones, find somebody who's good at phones and interview. I've interviewed 100 before I picked, okay, maybe not 100, 50 or so before I picked my phone operators. And then my video editors, Jam. I probably went through like 20 or 50 applications and presentations and their portfolios and the demo that I had them cut up for me. I went through a lot of people. I had them chop up a video and tell a story with the piece of content that I gave them, and Jam told the best story. So I hired Jam, and I've been with Jam for my YouTube video editor for 2-3 years now. She's been working with me. She's probably sick of this ugly ass face by now. That is how I hire VAs. And if you want the technicals of how to go through the process, how to do it, how to set up interviews, how to set up the Google Form application, if you want all that technical stuff, check out the video here or check out the video description down below. That is how you hire employees for your junk removal business, your home service business, and that is how you hire VAs. We are on topic number 5, operations. In this section, we're going to talk about operations, SOPs, standard operating procedures. The operations of your company is very important because if you want to automate your business or you want to scale, you have to have your operations in check. I feel like operations was something that I got pretty well because I was able to scale to 2 locations. Second location in 6 months. I was off the truck by month 4. But permanently off the truck by month 6. I was off the phones by month 8 or 9, give or take. And I was completely off trucks and phones and just running the business itself by month 9 or so. And that is due to all of the systems I had in place, such as an FSM and a CRM, the SOPs that I had in place, the metrics that I was tracking, how I was managing my vehicles, how I was managing my team, how I managed my customer experience. I attempted to manage inventory. My employees lost things a lot, but we're gonna talk about it. So let's first talk about FSMs and CRMs. FSM is field service management. Some examples of some field service management tools are Autopilot, My Software, Jobber, House Call Pro, Workies, Service Titan. Use Autopilot, guys. Autopilot's the best. A lot of people, including you, probably call these CRMs. CRM, Customer Relationship Management. Think of Salesforce, HubSpot, Go High Level. I hate to break it to you, these are not CRMs. It's too hard to correct everybody now because everybody just thinks they're CRMs. Now, is there a small sprinkle of CRM capabilities within these FSMs? The fundamental difference between FSM and CRM is field service management. This is for job scheduling, routing, team tracking, invoices, estimates, managing your employees. That is field service management. You're managing the operations of your business. A CRM kind of help you build the relationship with the customer relationship. So being able to email and do follow-ups, automated follow-ups, and last time you were contacted with the customer, and just tracking your communication with the customer, storing your database and marketing to your customers and being in touch with your customers. So one is field service, managing your jobs and your scheduling, your dispatching, your employees and your team. One is managing your relationship with your customers. Big fundamental difference. Most people get the two mixed. Now, FSMs, like I said, do have CRM capabilities like Autopilot. We have email tools in there. We have text blasting tools. We have sequences so you can build out custom marketing sequences. We have the ability to text with your customers and make phone calls. So we have a lot of CRM pieces included in our system, more than most of our other competitors. So use Autopilot. Of course, I'm going to sell Autopilot now, guys. Okay, so bear with me here. Using a field service management system and a CRM is an absolute must, I believe, from day one. You want to be building your database of customers because then you can start building relationships, asking for reviews, putting them on a marketing sequence over the course of a year or in perpetuity. They just get an email on Christmas or an email on their birthday or a text blast during the winter, to increase business. And it's just kind of on automation. And then being able to manage your schedule and being able to track your employees and how much money they're making, your average job size, and just seeing all these metrics like what's your close rate, what's your booking rate, how much revenue are you making, how much profit per job, what's your ad ROAS, return on ad spend. There are so many things that you can track with the CRM that helps you scale, because if you can't see your numbers, you don't know how you're performing. And that's why it's so important to start from day one. It will change the way you run your business. Measuring these metrics, it keeps you organized. Another thing, guys, is your equipment. Having scheduled maintenance, inspection logs. I used to use software called Whip Around. Whip Around is great software for your employees. Before they start their shift, they can do a check-in at the beginning of the morning or the beginning of the day and a check-out when they're done. And it asks what the mileage was at, and it tracks your oil changes, and it keeps all of your equipment up to date so that you know exactly what's going on every day with each truck when the employees are running the trucks. Making sure every truck is insured, making sure you have your registration, making sure you have GPS trackers on your truck. We had Force by Mogio GPS trackers that plug into the OBD2 ports, and you have live tracking of your trucks. And you can see how fast they're driving, how hard they brake, where they're going, live, real time, their entire route, so you can see what they're doing. I've caught my employees doing some sketchy stuff, going places they shouldn't have been going. Having your trucks and your equipment maintained and having GPS tracking is more SOPs you need to have in place, standard operating procedures. Now, when it comes to your team, hiring system, we just talked about. Onboarding, we talked about. But you also want to do team meetings, performance reviews, bonuses, safety class, as well as daily or weekly huddles to kind of bring your team together. Even if you have one employee, you want to talk with them and get them pumped up. This is how you build culture within your company. Your customer experience as well is one you want to have nailed down. You want to have your phone scripts for your agents, because your agents, yes, when you get phone agents, there's going to be a script that they're going to need to follow. Nobody's you. They can't be as good as you on the phone. So they need a script to start with until they get comfortable. You need to have these scripts in place, the training in place for your phone operators, and then you also need to have the training for the employees. You need to train them. You need to give them safety training. You need to teach them how to price with your pricing sheet. You need to tell them how to act in people's homes, how to talk to customers and give them sales training, basic guidelines and SOPs for your employees to follow. I had a 50-page employee handbook written before this whole AI thing existed. So it was actually written. I hired somebody to write it. Now it's very easy to do this with ChatGPT, but you need to have all this stuff written so that every time you fire somebody and you hire somebody new, you have all these processes in place. You have the field service management system that they sign up for. You have all the training materials. You have everything ready to go. And then last but not least, inventory. We used Whip Around for our vehicles and for employee check-in, check-out. And then we had a custom document that I made for inventory check-in, check-out, because you're gonna start losing equipment. I don't know how many of those expensive Milwaukee batteries we lost, the Sawzaws, so much equipment was lost. So you wanna do some type of inventory tracking as well. So when you have employees, they check out inventory and check back in the inventory. And that is how you want to run your business. You need to get all these operations in place, and it's gonna be different for everybody, right? I just wanted to go over the highlights of the FSM and CRM, the SOPs in general, how you manage your fleet and equipment, metrics you wanna track, how you manage your team, the customer experience, and of course, inventory tracking. So there's a lot that comes to operations, but once you get your operations locked in, that is how you begin to scale. That is operations. There's a lot to digest there, and I really encourage you to please check out the video description down below. You can download this all in the workbook and you can follow along. Let's move on to the next section. Quick intermission. Are you still watching? Please, it really helps me out if you just hit the like button, subscribe, comment, ask a question, something. Anyways, back to the video. All right, guys, we are now at the section that brings it all together, data. I want you to think back to what we just talked about in operations. We talked about FSMs and CRMs and how important they are for measuring your metrics and yada, yada, yada. I'm gonna give you guys an example of what happens when you don't use a CRM or an FSM. I'm not telling you this just so you use my software. This is legitimately what's happening to your business right now. So if you're not using a CRM to track your 1,500 customers, I don't know how many you have an invisible loss on your business. What you've effectively done is you devalued yourself. You made your business worth less money simply by you not tracking your customers. Let's say your business could sell for $1 million, but without the CRM data, if you don't have your customers, your 1,500 customers in the database, it would sell for $750,000. You just made an invisible loss and devalued your company by $250,000 simply because you didn't put them into a database. You probably track them on a Google Calendar, notes, probably have your customers somewhere buried away, pen and paper over the last 5 years. You probably have all your customers. Go put them all in a database, you've just increased your business by $250,000. That is how important it is to store customers in your database, because one day you might get sick of your company. You might want to do something else. You might want to start a fishing company. You might want to go do whatever you want to do. You might want to just chill and sell your company. When you sell to a potential buyer, they're going to say, how many customers in your database? You can be like, well, I think I got some on my notepad over here. I got some in my emails over here. If you don't have them stored somewhere, you have devalued your company. That is the first thing about an FSM and a CRM, is the invisible loss your company gets simply by not tracking your customers, let alone all the other data. If you built a good business with good brand and you have 1,000, 10,000, 20,000 customers in your database over the course of 10 years, you know how valuable that is to the next buyer? They can simply go click and it'll just start marketing to them emails and text over the next year. You can do coupons and holiday specials and spring cleaning specials. The new buyer doesn't want to buy just a company that they're hoping customers show up. Like, obviously they're going to do due diligence to see how much money you're making per month. But if you're just like, yeah, the customers are going to come, my phone rings every day. And they're going to say, okay, cool, your phone rings. Do you have the database of customers? Or no, it's in my notepad file. They're just going to be like, yeah, that's cool that your phone just rings, but I kind of need your 10 years history of customers so that I can click remarket to them, the existing customers. So it is very important that you build your customer database. And it's not only valuable to potential buyers, it's valuable to you now. With Autopilot, right now, you have 1,500 customers and you're like, you know what? It's kind of slow right now. I'm gonna send out a text message blast. And you blast 1,500 of your customers. I'm running a special over the next week. my really good friend and investor, Matt and Jojo, they had a list of 1,700 customers, sent a blast to all 1,700 people. They booked like 40 jobs the next 2 days and made like $10,000, $15,000 from one text message blast. The next thing that's very important is tracking your data. Not only are you storing the database customers, you're storing how much money they're spending with you, how often they come back. You're gonna get your average job size. Are you making $500 a job on average? Are you making $300 a job on average? Your customer acquisition cost, how much are you spending to get customers? Your lifetime value. You can literally go into your software and you can see, because you get repeat customers over the years, and you can see who spent the most money with you. You can also see how much on average you make from your customers through their lifetime. Because maybe you run a car detailing business and they come back every 6 months. Maybe over the course of 5 years, you find out, oh my gosh, Sally, on average, my customers are spending $2,000 with me over the course of 3 years. If I'm making $2,000 from one customer over the course of 3 years, what am I willing to spend to get a customer? That is where CAC and LTV comes in. CAC is customer acquisition costs. So if you can spend $100 to $200 on ads to get one customer, that's expensive. Is it worth it if you know they're gonna spend $3,000 with you over the course of 3 years? The answer is yes. You also can find out your close rate, how well you close on the phones, your booking rate, which is how well you close on the phones, your close rate, which is how well you close in person. I have a friend who closes 90%, 9 out of 10 of his customers book with him. That's a very good close rate. You want 90% or higher. Your ROAS, return on ad spend, and so many more data points you can measure. And this is all automatic if you just literally put in John, Sally, and Bob spent $500 with me, and you input it into Autopilot. All these numbers are automatic, and you have all of this data. There's a famous saying, what gets measured gets managed. If you don't measure your numbers, you don't know how well you did last month, because you can look at your numbers last month and be like, oh shit, my numbers are down. And this is very effective when you have employees, because you can be like, oh shit, you guys we're messing up somewhere here. And you can kind of like, if your booking rate's down on the phones, you can talk to your phone assistants and be like, hey, what's going on? Everything, do we need to do some more training, adjust here? What do we need to do? And you can kind of like make adjustments in your company real time, all because you're using Autopilot. That is data for CRMs and FSMs and how important. There's one other piece of data that's very important, that is financial data. When it comes to selling your company in the future, if you one day always build to sell, in my opinion, always build to sell, even if you have no intentions of selling, because one day you might change your mind and you want to be prepared so you can sell for a good price as fast as possible. That is keeping clean books, proper tax returns, income statements, also known as P&Ls, profit and loss statements. An owner's draw is when you transfer from your business to your personal. You eventually want to put yourself on payroll when you get taxed as an S Corp being an LLC, but that's a whole conversation for another day. Don't commingle your personal account with your business account, and don't transfer money from your personal to your business 84,000 times a month. We've all been there, I've done that. What you want to do is keep your books clean, and you want to show clean tax returns. The more money you can show on your tax returns, the higher you can sell. A lot of people want to play the tax deduction game and Section 179, where you buy expensive equipment and you do a depreciation tax and you can do an entire write-off of the $100,000 truck. That's fine when you need to do it. But if you keep trying to play the tax game and show low income because you're trying to pay less taxes, you sell at a multiple of what's on your tax returns. Your EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Go watch this video I did here on KPIs, EBITDA, accounting terms, and all that. I did an entire video here. But the point is, show good tax returns. You'll sell at a higher valuation. And the reason why this brings this all together is because it forces you to use a CRM and an FSM, and that's the first step of getting your business proper. Is using a CRM, using an FSM. It's going to put you in the right direction of running your company, because you're going to start being organized, you're going to have a database, you're just going to start running your business properly. Those are the 6 major topics that I believe will set you apart and keep you in business and keep your business running without failing in the first 3 years. We covered branding, leads, the work, employees, operations, and data. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it brought some value to you guys. If you have any questions, you guys know you can comment down in the comments below. I'll answer any questions. And if you got any value from this, please like, subscribe. It tells YouTube you like what I'm putting out. It tells me that you like what I'm putting out. With all that being said, I leave you guys with this. Success is often covered in dirt, but so was gold at one point. Toodles! Whoosh. This product, I know I can truly turn into a billion-dollar company. The benefits outweigh the cost. And make sure that we have the best software in the world. My software, Autopilot, is finally here. I truly believe we are going to be the best platform. This will be the software of choice in the home service industry.